"Oh, sorry, my son accidentally damaged your car." My fiancée Vanessa said it with a shrug, as if her 17-year-old son had spilled juice on the floor instead of backing an SUV into the driver's side of the car I had spent 6 years restoring. Her mother Linda stood beside her in my driveway with her arms crossed. "Accidents happen, Chris," she added. "You cannot turn every little inconvenience into a tragedy. Every little inconvenience." I stared at the crushed door of my dark blue 1972 Chevrolet Chevelle. The mirror hung by a wire. The paint had been scraped down to bare metal. The front fender was bent inward so badly that the tire rubbed against it. Noah stood near Vanessa's SUV with both hands inside the pockets of his hoodie. He did not look frightened. He looked impatient. Vanessa's daughter Brooke leaned against the porch railing, scrolling through her phone. Nobody apologized properly. Nobody asked whether I was all right. 20 minutes earlier, Vanessa had been sitting at my dining room table with a folder in front of her. Inside was a deed transfer agreement prepared by a lawyer I had never met. She wanted me to sign my Maple Street duplex over to Brooke. Not sell it, not rent it, give it to her. The property had been left to me by my grandmother. It was mortgage-free, and the income from the second unit gave me financial stability. I had spent years replacing pipes, repainting rooms, repairing the roof, and handling tenant calls after work. I was a marketing specialist, not a contractor. Still, that duplex represented everything I had built carefully while other people spent money carelessly. Brooke wanted to turn one unit into a beauty studio and use the property as collateral for a business loan. Vanessa called it an investment in our future. I called it what it was. "No," I had said. Brooke laughed. Linda leaned forward. "Marriage means learning to stop thinking only about yourself, Chris." "I paid Brooke's tuition for 2 semesters," I replied. "I covered Noah's summer program. I helped Vanessa clear her credit card debt. I paid for your dental work last year. I am not thinking only about myself." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "You are keeping score now?" "No. I am setting a boundary." 10 minutes later, Noah asked for the keys to move Vanessa's SUV because it was blocking the driveway. Then came the sound of metal folding into metal. Now Vanessa watched my face, probably waiting for me to shout so she could call me unstable. I did not give her that. I photographed the damage. Then the SUV. Then the tire marks. Then the security camera above the garage. Vanessa followed my gaze. "It was an accident," she repeated. "I heard you. You are not going to punish Noah over an old car, are you?" I looked at her. "No," I said. "I am not going to punish anyone." That night, I called my insurance company, updated the policy, and removed Vanessa and Noah as permitted drivers on every vehicle registered in my name. Then I changed the garage code and restricted access to our joint savings account. Most of the money in that account had come from me. It was supposed to pay for our wedding and future renovations. I did not empty it. I simply changed the settings so that withdrawals over $500 required approval from both account holders. After that, I sat in my office and reviewed the security footage. At 7:42 the next morning, Vanessa woke up to something far more unexpected than a declined debit card. She woke up to Brooke screaming in the driveway, and a locksmith changing the locks on the Maple Street duplex. I had been with Vanessa for 4 years. For most of that time, I believed I was building a family. Looking back, I was building a system in which everyone had a role except me. Vanessa was the soft-spoken negotiator. She never demanded money directly. She approached every request with a sigh and a tired smile. Brooke is struggling. Noah feels left out. My mother is embarrassed about her dental problems. I hate asking you, Chris. That last sentence was her favorite. She hated asking so much that she did it almost every month. Brooke was 24 and always one opportunity away from success. First, she needed tuition money, then a laptop, then a professional beauty course, then a deposit for a salon chair she abandoned 3 months later because the owner was toxic. Noah rarely asked for anything himself. Vanessa did it for him. Soccer equipment, a phone upgrade, driving lessons, a contribution toward his first car. Linda did not bother with politeness. She considered generosity a moral obligation. "You cannot take money with you when you die," she told me after I hesitated over paying for her dental implants. The implants cost $6,000. She never paid back a cent. I worked full-time as a marketing specialist for a regional healthcare company. My job sounded more glamorous than it was. Most days, I wrote campaign briefs, fixed presentations, tracked advertising performance, and listened to executives use the word synergy as if they had invented it. I earned a good salary because I was skilled at making messy things look organized. That skill followed me home. When Brooke needed a business plan, I made one. When Noah applied for a summer internship, I rewrote his ESM. When Linda decided to sell candles online, I designed a logo and spent 2 Saturdays taking product photos in my kitchen. When Vanessa's car needed repairs, I paid the mechanic. When the family wanted a weekend vacation, I booked the hotel. At some point, they stopped thanking me. They started correcting me. Brooke complained that the logo I designed looked too corporate. Linda said the hotel I booked was not luxurious enough. Vanessa told me I needed to be more generous with Noah because teenage boys remembered which adults believed in them. I did believe in Noah. That was the part that hurt. I had taught him how to drive. I had helped him build a computer. I had attended his soccer matches when his father canceled. But on the morning after he damaged my Chevelle, I stood outside the Maple Street duplex while a locksmith replaced the locks, and Brooke shouted from the sidewalk, "You cannot do this! I own the property. My equipment is inside!" That was the first surprise. I had not known she had moved anything into the vacant unit. The apartment had been empty for 12 days between tenants. I planned to repaint it and repair a bathroom cabinet. I had never given Brooke a key, yet inside there were salon chairs, boxes of hair products, mirrors, and a folding massage table. When I asked the locksmith how she had entered, he examined the lock. "No damage," he said. "Someone used a key." Vanessa arrived in her robe and slippers at 7:42 a.m., holding her phone. She looked at me, then at the locksmith, then at Brooke's boxes on the lawn. "What are you doing?" "Changing the locks." "You cannot throw her things outside." "I can remove unauthorized property from my building." Brooke's face turned red. "Mom said I could start moving in." I looked at Vanessa. She closed her eyes for half a second. "Chris, we were going to discuss it." "We discussed it yesterday. I said no." "You said no to transferring the deed. That does not mean Brooke cannot use the unit temporarily." "It does when nobody asks me." Linda arrived 20 minutes later and immediately took Vanessa's side. "You are humiliating Brooke in front of the neighbors," she said. "No, I am changing locks on my property." Then Vanessa's phone buzzed. She checked the screen and went pale. "What did you do to the savings account?" "I added a 2-signature requirement." "You froze me out?" "No. We both need to approve large withdrawals." Her expression changed. "How did you know?" "Know what?" She said nothing. I opened the banking app. At 7:41 a.m., someone had attempted to transfer $48,000 from our joint savings account to a business account registered to Brooke. The transfer had been blocked. I held up the screen. "Would you like to explain this?" Brooke looked away. Linda suddenly became silent. Vanessa stared at me for several seconds. "It was for renovations," she said. "Renovations to my property? To help Brooke get started. With our wedding savings? It is our money. It is mostly my money." Her eyes sharpened immediately. "Your money," she repeated. "Thank you for finally showing us how you really feel." She had tried to move nearly $50,000 without telling me. Yet somehow I was the selfish one. I told Brooke she had until noon to collect her things. Then I drove to work. By lunchtime, Vanessa had posted on Facebook. She did not use my name, but she did not need to. Sometimes the person who promises to build a future with you reveals that everything was always about control. "Love should never come with financial chains." Linda commented first. "A generous heart cannot be taught." Brooke added, "Some men want applause for doing the bare minimum." Then she posted a photo of my damaged Chevelle. "Imagine caring more about an old car than the people you claim to love." By evening, relatives I barely knew had joined in. One cousin said Vanessa had ignored red flags for too long. An aunt called me emotionally abusive. Someone I had met once at Thanksgiving said I was obsessed with money. Vanessa watched the comments pile up without correcting anyone. That night, she slept at Linda's house. I stayed home and kept digging. The security footage was clear. Noah had not damaged my car by accident. He opened the SUV door, looked toward the porch, and waited. Brooke stepped into the frame. The camera did not catch every word, but it caught enough. "Not too hard," she said. Noah shook his head. Brooke said something else. Then Noah got behind the wheel, reversed slowly, stopped, adjusted the angle, and pressed the accelerator. The SUV struck my Chevelle. He pulled forward. Brooke inspected the damage, then she smiled. The second recording came from the side entrance. Vanessa's voice was faint, but recognizable. "Let him cool down," she said. "He will sign eventually." Linda replied, "He needs to understand that joining a family means sharing." I watched both recordings twice. Then I called my insurance company again and told them the damage might have been intentional. Afterward, I opened the drawer where we kept old cables and backup drives. Months earlier, Vanessa had asked me to recover photographs from an old laptop. I had copied the entire drive onto an external hard disk. I plugged it in. Most of the folders contained normal files. family pictures, tax documents, old resumes. Then I found a folder labeled Maple. Inside were scanned copies of my property records, a draft deed transfer agreement, renovation estimates, a beauty studio proposal, and screenshots from a private family group chat. The oldest messages were from 8 months earlier. Brooke, once Chris signs, I can use the duplex as collateral. Linda, do not rush him. Men like Chris need to believe the decision was their idea. Vanessa, he will do it before the wedding. He hates conflict. A week later, Brooke wrote, if he starts acting cheap, remind him how much he already invested. He will not want to admit he wasted 4 years. Then I found the message sent the night before my car was damaged. Brooke, Noah can bump the old car tomorrow. Nothing dangerous, just enough to scare Chris. Vanessa replied, do not be stupid. Keep it believable. I sat motionless for a long time. On the wall beside me hung a photograph from the day I proposed. Vanessa was smiling, with both hands over her mouth. Brooke and Noah stood behind her. Linda had taken the picture. I used to think it captured the moment I became part of a family. Now it looked like a photograph of people celebrating a successful negotiation. I copied everything. The footage, the bank records, the group chat, the attempted transfer, the deed draft. Then I emailed the folder to my attorney. The next morning, I called someone I had not spoken to in almost 2 years. Brooke's former boyfriend, Ethan. He answered on the 4th ring. When I told him who I was, he went silent. Then he asked, what did she do? Not why are you calling? Not how is she? What did she do? That was when I realized I was not the first person they had tried to corner. Ethan met me at a coffee shop after work. He looked tired before we even started talking. Brooke had told everyone they broke up because he cheated. Vanessa repeated that story at family dinners. Linda called him a manipulator. According to Ethan, none of it was true. He tried to leave after discovering Brooke had used his credit card to pay for salon equipment. When he confronted her, she threatened to release screenshots that made him look abusive. She edits conversations, he said. She takes one message from one argument and attaches it to another. She saves audio clips too. He pulled a flash drive from his pocket. I kept what I could. The drive contained emails, screenshots, and voice messages. In one recording, Brooke said, if Ethan leaves, I will tell everyone he scared me. People believe women when they sound calm. Vanessa replied, then stay calm. The casual tone made my stomach turn. 3 days later, Vanessa texted me, we need to sit down as a family and resolve this like adults. I replied, Saturday, 6 o'clock, Maple Street duplex. Bring everyone involved. By Saturday afternoon, the vacant unit looked almost normal again. Brooke's boxes were gone. I placed folding chairs in the living room and connected my laptop to the television. Vanessa arrived with Linda. Brooke came next, wearing a cream-colored coat and a hard expression. Noah followed with his hood pulled up. 2 relatives arrived because Linda had invited them as witnesses. I did not object. I wanted witnesses. Vanessa looked around. Can we stop treating this like a courtroom? That depends, I said. Are you going to lie? Linda exhaled loudly. This hostility is exactly why Vanessa feels unsafe. I pressed play. The driveway appeared on the television. Noah entered the frame. Brooke gave instructions. The SUV reversed. The impact echoed through the room. Noah stared at the floor. Vanessa said, that proves nothing. He is an inexperienced driver. I showed the text message. Noah can bump the old car tomorrow. Then Vanessa's response. Keep it believable. One of the relatives shifted uncomfortably. Linda looked at her daughter. Vanessa stood. You went through my private messages? You backed them up on a drive in my office after asking me to recover your files. That does not give you the right. No, I said. You do not get to make this about privacy. Brooke stepped toward the laptop. I closed it. Sit down. Her face tightened. You cannot speak to me like that. I am speaking to you more politely than you deserve. I placed the bank statement on the table. At 7:41 on Tuesday morning, someone attempted to transfer $48,000 from our savings account into Brooke's business account. Vanessa folded her arms. It was supposed to help her. Did you ask me? No. Were you planning to tell me? She hesitated. That depended on your reaction. I nodded slowly. Then I placed the draft deed transfer agreement beside the statement. You hired a lawyer before speaking to me. We wanted to make the process easier. You wanted to make it faster. Linda stood. Brooke is trying to build a future. You have property. She has nothing. I have one duplex. I live in half of it. Brooke laughed bitterly. You act like you built an empire. It is an old building your grandmother gave you. That sentence hurt more than I expected. Not because it was clever, because I had heard versions of it for years. My career was not impressive enough. My car was old. My property was inherited. My savings were selfish. My help stopped being generous the moment they received it. I looked toward the door. That is why Ethan is here. The door opened. Ethan walked in carrying a black binder. Brooke's face lost its color. What is he doing here? Ethan placed the binder on the table and told them everything. The unauthorized credit card charges, the edited screenshots, the threats, the voice recordings. Brooke interrupted him repeatedly. You are obsessed with me. You are pathetic. This is why I left you. Ethan waited until she finished. Then he played the recording. Brooke's voice filled the room. If Ethan leaves, I will tell everyone he scared me. Vanessa's voice followed. Then stay calm. Linda slowly sat down. Noah looked at his mother as though he had never seen her before. Brooke rushed toward the television and reached for the cable. I stepped between her and the counter. Do not touch my property. She froze. Then Noah started crying. He wiped his face with his sleeve. Mom said it was only to scare him. Vanessa turned sharply. Noah, stop. She said Chris would not call the police because he loved us. The room fell silent. Linda whispered Vanessa's name. Brooke called Noah weak. Vanessa reached for my hand. I stepped back. Chris, please, this got out of control. No, I said. This was under control the entire time. That is the problem. I handed her the letter my attorney had prepared. The engagement is over. You have 30 days to remove your belongings from my house. You no longer have access to my accounts, vehicles, garage, or office. The attempted withdrawal has been reported to the bank. The damage to my car has been reported to the insurance company with video evidence. Linda stood again. You are destroying this family over money. I looked at her. No, money only revealed what this family was. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. Part of me still recognized the woman I had loved. The woman who laughed at terrible television shows. The woman who brought me soup when I was sick. The woman who sat beside me in the emergency room after I injured my hand. That was what made leaving difficult. People are rarely cruel every minute of the day. Sometimes they are kind enough to keep you confused. Vanessa lowered her voice. We can go to counseling. No. You are really throwing away 4 years? I looked at the damaged car through the window. You threw them away, one withdrawal, one lie, and one accident at a time. As I walked toward the door, Brooke shouted, You will regret this when nobody wants you. For years, that sentence would have worked. I would have turned around, explained myself, negotiated, maybe even apologized for making everyone uncomfortable. This time, I looked back once. I would rather be alone than useful to people who hate me. Then I left. Vanessa did not leave quietly. The following week, she posted a long statement about emotional abuse and financial control. She claimed I had weaponized money after promising to support her children. She said I had secretly recorded her family. She said I had humiliated Noah over a driving mistake. Brooke uploaded a video of herself crying in her car and said I had destroyed her small business before it had a chance to open. Linda commented beneath every post, One day, the truth will come out. She was right. The truth came out 4 days later. I had no interest in sharing every private detail of our relationship. I did not want strangers dissecting Vanessa's tears or Noah's fear, but I refused to let them build another false story around me. So I uploaded one statement. No insults, no dramatic music, no revenge speech, only facts. I explained that my vehicle had been deliberately damaged after I refused to transfer ownership of my property. I attached a short section of the driveway footage, the relevant messages, and the bank notice showing the attempted $48,000 transfer. I blurred Noah's face and removed his name. He was a teenager who had allowed adults to use him. That did not make him innocent, but it made him different from them. My statement ended with one sentence. Helping someone does not give them ownership of your future. The response was immediate. People who had mocked me deleted their comments. Relatives who had supported Vanessa sent private messages claiming they had never known the full story. One cousin apologized. Another asked me not to involve him because he had only reacted to what Vanessa told him. Linda posted that private matters should remain private. Brooke called me cruel for sharing evidence after publicly accusing me of abuse. Vanessa sent 19 messages in one night. First came anger, then guilt, then bargaining, then nostalgia. Remember our trip to Savannah? Remember when you said you loved being part of our family? Noah misses you. My mother is not sleeping. Brooke is young. She made mistakes. I made mistakes too. Please do not become cold. I read every message once. Then I muted the conversation. The insurance company investigated the damage. Because the video was clear, the claim moved quickly. I did not demand that Noah be dragged through court. I did insist that the report be honest. The Chevelle took 3 months to repair. During that time, I rented a small apartment near my office and renovated the Maple Street duplex properly. Not for Brooke, for me. I converted the vacant unit into a studio for a marketing consultancy I had quietly been building on weekends. I called it Clearline Marketing. For years, I had worried that boundaries made people selfish. Now I understood that boundaries simply made things visible. A clear line did not create conflict. It revealed who intended to cross it. I kept my full-time job initially and took on 2 local clients in the evenings, then 4, then 7. The mechanic repairing my Chevelle asked me to redesign his website. A calf ? Hired me after seeing his branding. A nonprofit asked me to build a campaign for a housing fundraiser. Within 8 months, the studio earned enough for me to reduce my hours at the healthcare company. Within a year, I left the corporate job entirely. Vanessa moved out before the 30-day deadline. She left her engagement ring on the kitchen counter beside a handwritten letter. I did not read it. I mailed both items to her attorney. Brooke tried to contact me through new numbers. The first time, she claimed she wanted salon equipment she had already collected. The second time, she said she wanted to apologize. I did not reply. Linda sent me a Christmas card with a Bible verse about forgiveness. I threw it away. Noah emailed me almost 6 months after the incident. His message was short. I am sorry about your car. I knew it was wrong. I wanted Mom and Brooke to stop being angry at me. That is not an excuse. I hope you are okay. I read it 3 times. Then I responded. Thank you for apologizing. What you did was serious. I hope you learn to leave any room where people ask you to hurt someone to prove your loyalty. Take care of yourself. I did not invite him back into my life. Forgiveness and access are not the same thing. That was one of the hardest lessons I learned. A year after the breakup, I sold the house Vanessa and I had shared. Too many rooms carried old conversations. Too many corners reminded me of the man who negotiated against himself because he was afraid of being alone. I bought a smaller house with a porch and a detached garage. The Chevelle fit perfectly inside. Above the workbench, I hung the original damaged side mirror. Not as a trophy, as a reminder. The morning I officially opened Clearline Marketing, I arrived early. The Maple Street duplex looked completely different. The old beige siding had been repainted deep green. The windows were clean. The studio walls were bright white with campaign mock-ups and framed photographs on the walls. Outside, a new sign hung above the entrance. Clearline Marketing. Build something that belongs to you. At 7:42 a.m., exactly 1 year after Vanessa woke up to Brooke screaming in the driveway, I stood outside with a coffee and watched sunlight move across the windows. My phone buzzed. For a second, my body reacted the old way. A knot in my chest. A flash of dread. The instinct to prepare for someone else's emergency. But it was only an email confirming a donation. I had used part of the studio's first-year profits to support a local housing program for young adults leaving foster care. Not Vanessa. Not Brooke. Not Linda. Not another relative who confused kindness with permanent access. People who genuinely needed help. People trying to build something of their own. I changed my phone number that afternoon. Only a handful of people received the new one. My clients, my attorney, 2 close friends, the mechanic who repaired the Chevelle. Nobody from Vanessa's family. Sometimes, I still think about the version of myself who stood in the driveway staring at the crushed car door. He believed silence made him weak. It did not. That night, silence was the first honest thing I had given myself in years. I did not scream. I did not threaten anyone. I did not beg them to understand me. I simply stopped funding my own humiliation. I am not proud that I tolerated so much. I ignored warning signs because I wanted a family. I confused being needed with being loved. I thought every sacrifice was proof that I belonged. But I am no longer ashamed of that man either. He was not stupid. He was hopeful. Hope becomes dangerous only when you keep handing it to people who use it as leverage. I am not guilty because they used me, but I am responsible for never becoming their tool again. The Chevelle runs beautifully now. On weekends, I take it out early, before the roads become crowded. The engine has a low, steady rumble that settles something inside me. The repaired driver's door closes with a clean metallic click. No scraping, no hesitation, no damage hidden beneath fresh paint. Just a clear line where the old life ended, and the new one finally began.